I just realized I should probably be recording this, so here we go. Air King radio cabinet restoration. Finally, it's December. So first off, the side panels were cracked in certain spots. You can see it's cracked up there and down here. More importantly, it was cracked the left side all the way across. And the previous person who used this, they used it as a prop for something. Just filled the whole channel in with wood glue, but never clamped it. So what I had to do was break off the side panel, and now I am slowly chipping away at the wood fragments and, more importantly, the wood glue, so that the groove can be rebuilt, and then I can reattach this correctly with proper clamping pressure. So, yeah, that'll be fun. These wedges here that go like here and here, I think there were supposed to be 3, but one of them's missing, so I'll just put 2 there. Need to be glued back on. We need to get new grill cloth and then reapply it. This needs to be wedged back into its little channel there. And then once that's done, it needs to be sanded very lightly, because the front is a veneer. Sanded very lightly and then refinished. All right, this is in the house right now because it's way too cold outside. We are glued up now, and there are a couple pieces that chipped off, which kind of need some pressure applied to them. This one, at least, I put some tape over. I'll do this one off camera once I'm done. Have it clamped down here to apply proper pressure this time. And really I should have 2 on the, or 1 on the back, I should say. But I don't have another clamp that long, so we're just going to have to go with this. And then after that, we can start to sand this down and refinish it. But we have to be careful because this is a veneer. And it's already starting to bubble here. And it will have to be glued down at the back. But I think it can still be saved, as long as we're careful to not blow past the veneer. This needs to be sanded down. The side panels are actually solid wood, which is surprising. But yeah, I might also have to, I just realized I tightened this clamp down crooked, so I'm going to, when I'm done as well, straighten that out so it's not going to shift and release its pressure. So, see you at the next update. Alright, next update. We got first layer of paint going on. I'm just using some acrylic black paint that we had here. I think this is a bit matter than the original, but I like how it looks, and it's actually now time for the second coat. So am I ready for museum? I ran into a bit of a problem here. In order to mask off both of these ridges, I have to mask off this curve here, and that's not going to be easy. What is my camera doing? So I'm wondering if I should make this a 3-tone here, make this like a black, a dark brown, and then just wax and like oil and wax this part here, like the whole side will be. It'll make the curved area here a bit more smooth of a transition, because it's obviously curved here, not just a sharp edge here. But it will also mean that it's not as original. But then again, I am also going to be using a different grill cloth, so I think I might give myself a little bit of creative leeway. Well, unfortunately, let me give you some light so you can see that that doesn't look right. I'm going to have to paint it, so I'm going to have to just be very careful around these edges and just do it without any masking. Okay, I was slightly messy with some of the paint here, so what I'm doing is I got some 220 on here, pulled it really tightly on this block so that it's not going to curl over at the ends, and then I'm just gonna sand this down lightly. The side pieces are solid wood, so I can sand a good bit here. I thought about planing this, but no. If they were not attached to the cabinet, it would be easy to plane, but here it's not. And there's not really an easy way to hold this down at this level so I can actually plane it, so I'm not going to. The lines here have now been painted. I also gave these a very, very quick once over. I just realized there's a little bit of tape here that I forgot to take off. And they look very clean. After I do this, then we move on to applying a little bit of oil, and then I'm gonna let that sit for like a half hour, come back, wipe the excess off, and then I'm going to wax this thing. You know what I want to do? I want to possibly try taking the block plane and then just running a 1 or 2 passes of a chamfer across the edge so it doesn't have as sharp of an edge. I'm not sure what I do about this, though. I might just have to very carefully once over it with sandpaper on the curves. Okay, I think I actually did a good job with the sanding. This here was chamfered, this here was chamfered with the plane, and that there was sanded. I could do a couple more passes with the sandpaper, make it a bit thicker. There we go. That'll work. And now, have a little bit of Brasso on here, and we can see that the emblem is cleaning up well. I'm not sure if I'll try to get the little like grooves in the middle, because it almost adds a little bit of depth to it. If you look at the folds of the like thing here, it looks kind of cool where it looks kind of like a shadow. I'm not sure. I'll mess around with it. What I'm going to try to do, I cut this brush's bristles down. I'm going to try to clean it like that, so then the bristles are more stiff. It'll get in there easier. Okay, that didn't work, so here's my newest plan. Okay, now time for the best part. Applying the oil. And I just realized there is this little piece of veneer I need to glue down, so I'm going to avoid that spot for a second and then take like a toothpick and just try to shove some glue in there. Alright, the veneer is done. At least getting its first oil coating, you can actually start to see areas where it is absorbing at different rates here. I'm going to get the back at some point. Next, I need to get the side panels, and I just realized I forgot to get a couple areas there. Okay, I finally decided to just get the tripod out, so you're welcome. Hopefully my face isn't in frame. So I just finished buffing out all the wax. Out of the way. And it's looking pretty good. I might still at some point order a little bit of Carnauba wax and make a paste wax with some of that in it. So then I can put a shinier finish on this. Again, I wanted to do the oil and wax finish because it's easy and I like it. But this is where we're at now, and the emblem I was able to clear coat, and it turned out pretty well. However, the bezel, every time I tried to clear coat it, it would start like rippling or bubbling up the clear coat. So I just waxed this as well. So what I'm going to try is buffing off the wax here, and hopefully that will be enough to keep this from tarnishing. So looks pretty good. I'm hoping that will last. If it doesn't, I'll have to record another clip of taking it out of the cabinet again, and I'll probably use some of that like paint on clear coat stuff, like the like enamel clear coat stuff you can get at the craft store, if this doesn't last. Okay, now I'm going to carefully clean off the, I believe this is called phenolic plastic. All I know is that it's very old and it can easily crack and stuff. So here we are. Let me try not to break this. Alright, it is now time for the special part. Time to apply the emblem. And there we go. Okay, well, look what arrived early. Kind of plasticky, but it'll do. If you can see here, here's our pattern. The original one here is like this kind of leafy pattern here, which has a similar color to that one, which is why I chose this. This was to find something that was closer to, like, I could find this leafy pattern, but it was the wrong color. Or I could find like a kind of a wavy pattern in the right colors. Both of them were going to be like over $30 for a little like 12 by 15 square. So I said, absolutely not. I'm not spending that much on a little tiny piece of fabric. Here's our little piece here. It's glued down, so I'm going to peel off the excess. This is like cardboard, basically. Might do is try, there we go. Just scrape off the old stuff. That's a bit too far, but, because this is the whole thing is gonna be visible here, so I want to clean this up somewhat, or at least find something that I can replace it with. All right, after a while of trying to fumble with it, I stapled this to the back of it. Stapled the cloth to the cardboard thing. And then I tacked it down. I had to have someone else hold it to get it started. And we got it tacked down. Unfortunately, this is starting to oxidize. I don't know if you can barely make that out there. So I will have to hit this again and probably get some like enamel coating paint type thing. But that's for another day. We have guests coming over and I want to have it ready. So I'm going to get my capacitive dropper ready. It's not going to be fully aligned, of course, but it is now ready to give a initial demo. Okay, science time. I was successfully able to pull the plastic window out. And as you can see here, it's kind of hazy and yellowed. And I picked up finally some of this Novus polish, which is supposed to be the really good stuff. Specifically, number 2 here. And it comes with some microfibers. So let's give this a try here. Let me zoom you in. So I'll take the dry part and... Oh no, it definitely... Okay, yeah. Wow, that actually really had an effect. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, right there, see? I've been holding off on buying some of this stuff because I didn't think that it would be anything special, but apparently it is. That is impressive. I should note with this type of, like, I believe it's like a cellulite plastic, be careful as it's brittle, and I've heard that it can also, has a low spontaneous combustion temperature of like 150 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. So, be careful. And I've also heard that just like many modern plastics, it will also yellow. Which, I mean, we could kind of see there. So yeah, this stuff is absolutely going to be what I'm using as my like final step polishing, because I can go up to like, I've tried going up to like 5,000 grit with a wet sand, and it still leaves a haze. However, this stuff seems to do a reasonably good job at getting rid of it. That is looking a million times clearer. Well, there you have it. The cabinet is finally complete. As you can see here, I've reinstalled the chassis because this is being recorded after the final part in this series, where we take a little bit more time with the chassis, specifically with regards to ballast tubes. And stay tuned for that final part. It'll hopefully be edited in the next few weeks. But stay tuned because we will go through a band scan on this on both shortwave and broadcast. So that'll be a lot of fun. But either way, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good day.